Welcome back to Champion Spring. Your MVP for Game 1 is Frozen after his Twisted Fate play. This doesn't make sense. Really good Destiny teleports around the map, getting consistent pressure on Kongdu.
I mean, it was even before the Destiny was available, Achilles, when he put off the teleport play to get an answering kill on bot that got Captain Jack those double buffs, and then the Destiny players you see on your screen, relentless on keeping down Hippo, the guy who needed to be the front line for Jhin to do damage in the back line, but in general was a really good performance from Frozen. We're finally seeing him back. Had a bit of an inglorious game last time out with the Zed into Lissandra going very wayward, but this time looked very convincing.
Yeah, very strong stuff from him. Crash as well. And Zeus for his first game. Everybody really on Longzhu performing pretty well. Flame was probably the only one that didn't stand out in my mind. That's because he was very passive in this game. He didn't make any huge plays to try to get ahead of Hippo. But yeah, everybody just playing very cohesively, making very little mistakes.
And when you're in those two minds about who should be MVP, that's a good indication. That's a macro performance from Longzhu rather than a player-specific one that really got them this win. I think they played really smartly around top, around their win conditions. The Jhin comp could never really come together until it was too late, until they were 10,000 gold behind. So good performance from Frozen and a good performance from the other group of Longzhu players. Again, this other 5 lost to the ROX Tigers. This is a much easier opposition than the ROX Tigers, but fun to be in a world where all 10 players could argue for a position in every match.
Yep. Now, what do you think you do if you're Kongdu in this situation? Do you just sort of abandon the dream of the Jhin composition? Do you go for something a little bit more standard? How do you approach the second game?
Kongdu's look best on poke comps, and obviously Jhin doesn't function in a poke comp that well, but if Varus is banned and if, say, a Braum comes out earlier, then it's very hard to function with a poke comp. I think the Jhin comp they drafted was fine. It's just the on the fly shot calling was what let them down, and it's probably going to happen pretty reliably against the better teams in the league. So it's an uphill battle. Keep drafting comps that have win conditions, that have good thought behind them, and then you'll get better eventually. Unless you're Spenu.
Unless you're Spenu. You have to have that little tack on at the end. Well, we can see we are into picks and bans for Game 2. Kongdu this time over on the blue side. We'll see what they want to do a little bit differently. So far, going to be pretty standard. Kog'Maw and Nidalee being taken away at both sides. So these were both banned out in that first game. So Kongdu were the ones banning both of these champions. So mixing it up a little bit. Let's see what they want to approach. Maybe Gangplank get taken away. Actually, I think they'll leave him up.
Yeah, the Gangplank, it did its bit. It was good farming performance from Flame, but not really much more to describe. There were fights they were winning 4v5 without Flame even ulting. He didn't have his global available, so last game was definitely not about the Gangplank.
Really not. Kalista and Fiora being banned away here. Respect to Flame, as Kongdu do not want to deal with that one in the top side of the map.
Well, it's a red side pick. A red side 5th pick is a great time to pick up a anti-carry, so an anti-tank champion like the carry top laner that is Fiora, and given that Hippo's champion pool has almost exclusively been, until very recently, tanks, it's smart to ban him away when you're on blue. You have more flexibility on blue side because you don't have to be banning away as many of the OPs.
Yep. You can see, though, Corki made it through the draft this time, and he gets snatched up first pick. There's a couple picks that actually made it through here. Lulu as well, one that was banned away in that first game. Looks like they're going to pick this one up, and wouldn't be too surprised if we see Kongdu also go for the Varus and just run Corki in that bot lane, because he's made it to the draft as well.
Frozen has been playing a lot of Lulu in solo queue. 28 games at a 79% win rate. Spamming the Lulu, especially recently, so wouldn't be surprised to see him pick it up, but there's a lot available, so actually going to go for the Nautilus as a higher priority.
Yeah, and the Sivir again here for Captain Jack. Once again, very consistent on that champion. One that is very classic for him, so not too surprising that they picked that one up as they come into the second game after a very strong performance by him.
And are you willing to run a pure Siege comp when you see Sivir for Engage and Nautilus with his suite of CC? That's the question for Kongdu, because Varus is available. Some of the disengage was banned by them, as Gragas was banned by them, and then Trundle was banned by their opponents, so there's less disengage available, but you could still see a poke comp be put together if that's what Kongdu want to do.
Like you said, it's pretty reliable for them, or at least one of the more reliable compositions that they do run.
I think you take Braum if it's going to be a poke comp, because Braum does so well at shutting down skill shots like the Corki Rockets and the Varus Q, but they're going to take Alistar instead.
lock that one in. It's going to be Kindred in the jungle yet again. This is just going to be a repeat jungle matchup as Elise comes in for Crash.
Oh, you spy with your little eye. I see a Poppy and a Nautilus.
Yep, so this is more than likely...
Oh, well, you were watching NACS today.
For the sake of my sanity, I hope that it's going to be Zeus playing Nautilus and support, but we very well could see it in the mid lane, as much as it pains me to say that statement.
I don't know if Siva's the carry you want in that situation. Now, Siva will definitely be able to get right in the front line, given that her front line will be ahead of her and super tanky with CC, but it was Okyu on Vayne with 4 tanks that was doing a lot of work for TDK and qualifying for that relegations match earlier today. Hongdu waiting to see if they're going to go full AD carry. There's still definitely the chance that we're going to see Lucian locked in.
Yeah, there's also this hover over the Tahm Kench, which we haven't seen too much of. We did see that last week, and it was a pretty devastating performance, but it looks like last second we're going to flip back to the Gangplank, so Hippo gets that one for himself. We've seen him take off on this champion, so it's going to be very reliant on Crash to apply some pressure to that top side of the map and stop Hippo from getting ahead of Flame.
From memory, that was Hippo, right? In the
almost carried all 5 members of his team.
It was a Tahm Kench versus
4 others, I should say.
I was thinking more of the Tahm Kench versus Fiora matchup.
Oh yeah, that was another one that was quite successful for him.
He's shown some things, Hippo, and the one carry champion he's shown things on is the Gangplank. So taken away, what do Longzhu want to do with their draft? It's a question we haven't known the answer to. Looking increasingly like it is going to be the Nautilus support.
Yeah, especially if they do lock this Lulu in here, which, you know, we've seen this banned away a lot. Be surprised if Longzhu don't want to go with the Lulu, especially like you said, Frozen's been playing this an immense amount in solo queue. It does get locked in, so it looks like we will have Nautilus support, Poppy in the top lane, and then that Lulu in mid.
This is a comp built for fighting around objectives. Longzhu have the engage of Siva, they have such a massive front line, and of course the Whimsy to make the frontliner, whether it's Nautilus, whether it's Poppy, whoever's acquiring that first pick, it's going to be lightning fast, but they are low damage. They really need to start stacking the dragons. They really need to establish win conditions that don't require them to win 5v5 fights, because unless they can get a nice snowball early, you're looking at 4 damage dealers on the side of Kongdu and 1.5 to 2 on the side of Longzhu.
Yeah. The big thing that we need to watch out for is if Crush is able to get going on this Kindred. Did not have the best game in that last set. I don't even know if he got sated for his Devour. I'm sure he did, but I don't know how late in the game it happened for him. Crash was just putting so much pressure around the map, combined with Frozen on that Twisted Fate with Destiny. We'll have to see how it changes this time with Lulu. Still decent at roaming. She can clear waves very effectively, has the Whimsy to speed herself up and get to those lanes. So we'll have to see how this matchup is going to go. Really keep our eyes on Crush with Kindred.
Early game, I think, will give us a lot of information on how the matchup is to flow. 4 AD carries. They want to start taking turrets on the side of Kongdu, whereas Longzhu most interested at picking up those dragons.
Yep. We'll see what happens when we get onto the Rift in Game 2. Longzhu versus Kongdu Monster coming right up.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands
All right, we are on the Rift for Game 2. You see we're showing off some fancy camera angles here, champions, this time around.
We were watching the rehearsal. They had quite a few creative ones I didn't even know existed, so...
Yeah, they got like 5 more or something like that they could show off. We'll see if we get to see those tonight or if they're holding those for another day.
Loving them zoom hacks.
Yeah.
Zoom out all the things.
Break the map,
Guga and
kill
Zeus.
your frame rate.
Very nice, and chatting.
Just having a cordial little meeting in the river.
What do you think a Minotaur and whatever Nautilus is talk about? I mean, I can't understand the Korean, but they're obviously having somewhat bit of a chinwag.
There's some kind of conversation going on.
Maybe something about not being able to milk those.
Maybe they're making a treaty of sorts.
A peace treaty?
You don't grab my 80 carry, I don't headbutt pulverize yours.
So it's not like the Jinna versus KT peace treaty, which is let's go 50 minutes.
Yeah, no, this is just, let's just farm, and then we'll fight in the mid game.
Right, well, that's pretty much been the LCK all season, so nothing different.
Or at least my experience with it so far.
Warlord's Bloodlust on both AD carries.
Yeah, Thunderlords.
In a world where itemizing into lifesteal is so hard, getting a lot of lifesteal, you know, especially when you start falling low, you're up to 20% lifesteal. I feel like Warlord's going to become more and more popular. There's some champions that really get a lot of value out of some of the other Keystone masteries, but you know, Jhin, for example, with Deathfire Touch. But I think more and more we're going to see, especially the more risky a champion you're taking, the shorter range a champion you're taking, why not Warlord's Bloodlust?
See though, Crush going for an aggressive invade onto Crash, who is taking this red buff at the moment. Smite's available for Crush. He will go ahead and steal this one away. Now, Crash has to run out, so good invade here by Crush. This is the thing we were talking about during Champ Select. What is Crush going to do to try to establish dominance in the jungle? Great first move by him. Looks like he's not backing off. He's just going to keep pressuring onto Crash here at the Raptors. Smite is available. He does get to keep those for himself. But good stuff here by the Kindred already.
It's hyper aggression, not from Crash, but Crush, his almost namesake. He took a smiteless Gromp into just jumping over the Baron Pit and contesting the red buff. That's sort of aggression you might see from Rush and solo queue, but a lot of competitive junglers would not go for that level of aggression, but it pays off.
Yeah. Good stuff so far. Let's just see if he can keep that ball rolling and transition that into some pressure in the lanes. Try to get them ahead. We can see now taking his blue buff. He's going to be quite safe and healthy by the end of this. So
At least
he's going to be able to continue that jungle for a while.
At least can only win the skirmishes or trades with a Kindred if she gets the drop. If she opens up with stun and can chunk down the Kindred very quickly, but if it's an open space or if it's the Kindred being the aggressor, at least she doesn't have the tools, especially come level 6 where her all in, unless she has a massive health advantage before the trade starts, she's going to probably be outclassed by the Lamb's Respite.
Yep. Have to be a little bit worried for Longzhu here. There's so much burst potential on the side of Kongdu. Headbutt pulverize into a calling with Corki just layering Frost Bombs and rockets on top of you. That's one hell of a way to go down. Let's see if it comes to that. Now it's going to be Crash collapsing in around onto Crush. Uber is here as well. Looks like the red buff will get taken by Crash. They try to back out, but this is going to be Edge coming around the sidelines. Crush gets grabbed up by the Cocoon. It's going to be the headbutt pulverize, and Crash looks like he's going to fall. Repels up in the air, nowhere to go. First blood goes over to Edge. And that is a great start here for Kongdu, continuing off that pressure that Crush was already establishing.
Communication that looks so clear for Longzhu in game 1 is entirely absent. Why are they invading if Frozen's not going to be the first person to react? Corki has the much faster path over, has the Valkyrie for a massive gap closer. It was always going to be a numbers advantage for Kongdu the moment Gugu had already left lane and been there for support. So even though Longzhu brought friends, it seemed like Frozen and the rest of his team weren't on the same wavelength.
Definitely not. We can already see 900 gold at just the third minute mark here.
I mean, a big experience lead for Crush as well, given that he was able to pick up that kill and had stolen away the camp earlier. Speaking of stealing.
Yeah, just going in for the Gromp.
Just a thief.
Yeah, just taking everything, which is a great thing if you're playing this Kindred, as you want that Devourer, as we've seen so much in Champions. So really solid stuff here from Crush. You'll be able to go back and near complete that jungle item. He's going to go for the Skirmisher Saber here, rather than the Tracker's Knife, which we've seen a ton of lately. So still going to be looking to duel as much as humanly possible.
If you're taking Skirmisher Saber, it means that you're foregoing the safer Tracker's Knife warding for fighting. It basically is that I'm going to fight button. It's a viable version of, what was it last season? The one that gave you movement speed when you smited away camps that like some troll Nunes would pick up.
Oh, right. I can't remember. Last season seems so...
Poacher's Knife.
Poacher's, there we go.
It's like a viable version of Poacher's Knife. Because it still tells you I want to fight, just like Poacher's Knife said I want to smite your Grumple.
Yeah. See though, Flame quite far forward, takes a bit of damage from that barrel. This is going to be Crush coming around the sides. He does have that ward in the Tri-Brush, so he does know if it's going to be the Cannon Barrage thrown down. Flame taking a lot of damage, pops the ultimate, it's not going to land, and Crush finds himself another kill for Kongdu. 1-0-1 on that Kindred, making moves around the map.
Where's Crush's pathing been this whole season? He's so aggressive. It's like he's been watching those high-tier junglers on Kindred, which has been basically everyone in the past week and emulated them. I really like the preemptive flash. The only way they don't pick up that kill is if the Keeper's Verdict lands from Poppy, but flashing away meant that wasn't possible. They push up the lane and they get Gangplank ahead, which is exactly where you want to be and exactly where Flame found himself last game.
Yep. We've seen what Hippo can do with Gangplank if he gets rolling. So this is going to be scary stuff for Longzhu. He can't shut somebody down soon. Have to start trying to control Crush as much as humanly possible. You can see he's already roaming down toward this bottom side of the map. Tribrush is warded, so they should spot him if he comes in that way. Could go for a lane gank, however. Cougar, oh, Zeus just botching that grab, and now turning it right back around the flash pulverize. Headbutt forward. Crush and Soul doing so much damage. Crash does arrive. Can they finish him off? Zeus still on the run. Heal has to be used by Captain Jack. Exhaust comes through onto the Elise as she jumps in, but Edge has arrived. Rocket comes through. That's going to force the flash by Crash over the wall. Now turning onto Edge. Can they find a pick? Frozen trying to lay down as much damage as possible, but Edge is doing a plethora of his own. Right back in, headbutt pulverize. The dredge line not going to land. Wild Growth has to come through. That's going to be the disengage here, but a lot burned out by Longzhu, not able to find a pick.
So close between the two teams. Zeus, the terrain blocked the hook. Wasn't Blitzcrank there. The Blitzcrank interaction certainly would have been welcome, but this hook doesn't go. Anchor doesn't go over terrain, so Honda gets the slight advantage, but nothing really else to say. Edge is able to stay in lane, so we actually reset after what could have been multiple kills to either side.
Yeah. 2 flashes and a heal down by Longzhu in that fight. I believe just a flash and exhaust out from Cougar as he had that nice engage onto Zeus.
Both summoners available for Soul and Edge, means a slight summoner advantage for Honda.
Yeah. Crash is working his way up toward this top side, however. It's not warded, but Crush is roaming up as well. Actually, he's going to go into the invasion in the jungle. Pop up from Flame as they try to get Hippo here. He, of course, can cleanse off this cocoon. Flashes away, so won't even need to burn that one out. And now Crush is joining him up in the top side. Going to be keeping the Gangplank safe. Good play by Hippo, keeping himself from going down in that fight.
Really good ability to open up space with both summoners available.
Oh, it's going to be engaged on the Frozen. This takes a bit of damage. Edge trying to get forward here.
I like how Edge played the hopscotch with the package into the Valkyrie.
Yeah. Not quite able to close enough distance, though, to finish off Frozen.
Corki just can't do the triple jump.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to compete in that Olympic sport. Unless he flashes. Oh my goodness, he can.
Yeah.
Probably should open with the flash and end with the package in that case. Otherwise, no world records for this Bombardier.
Not able to find anything. Just 800 gold separating these teams at the moment. Longzhu just still not able to find any real firm ground in this match. All of their gank attempts have been botched and just thrown to the wayside by Kongdu, who are just simply out-rotating right now, especially by the efforts of Crush.
What does the game look like when Corki hits Trinity Force, level 11, some Sork boots? You know, when Corki hits his power spike, can Kongdu put together the sieges they want to? Because it's not a true siege comp. They have Gangplank and not the likes of a Trundle or Poppy in the top lane. So sieging is risky. There's a lot of flank options and a Sivir ultimate. You need to take those turrets when you have triple AD carry, but there are a lot of ways to answer for Longzhu.
You see Crush and Edge trying to get that steal. Rocket comes in just a few seconds too late. Actually could have taken that one away if he threw it out at the right time, but not going to happen here. So Frozen will rejoin his lane with blue buff in tow. We'll see if he's going to be able to put any significant pressure down onto Edge, who so far has been playing very safely and is getting a bit of a CS lead for himself, 99 to 86. So pretty good stuff from the Corki. Frozen's Lulu just falling a bit behind.
A bit more time to think about the comps. I was talking about how Longzhu are low damage, but it's basically high damage, low tankiness from the side of Kongdu. They have no front line when Alistar's ult is down, literally nothing. And
Lamb's Respite.
Longzhu have engaged, Longzhu have CC. You get one pick and you can get so many kills if you're Longzhu. It just feels like Kongdu have to be so careful because they really do carve apart like butter if Sivir gets some auto attacks off.
Yep. Crush coming around by the
Face check.
gets caught, and it's going to be the cocoon coming through. Hippo is nearby, however. And Kongdu may be trying to turn this one around. Barrel's not going to be able to connect here. Hippo just throws out that shot onto Flame as he takes a bit of damage. Edge has joined the team as well near this top side. but I don't think they're going to be able to find too much else going on up here.
Will this Kindred still go Devour despite the fact that there's no jungle enchant completed? Bought the upgraded boots. I think this might have to be a warrior game because it's going to be a very late Devourer if Crush does pick it up.
Yeah, you're pushing a little too far. Nice spell shield by Captain Jack. Getting that around by Cougar. Cannon Barrage does come down. That's going to be the pop-up here for Soul, interrupting the calling. Can they trade back? And the kill does not look like it. Cougar being taken quite low. Still has that ultimate available, so I think he's going to be okay. Captain Jack spots him out with the ward. We'll delay that back. Nothing really coming out here in this game since those first 2 kills that we saw. 1,200 stretching. Oh, Zeus gets the grab onto Cougar and can finish him off before the ultimate even comes out. Nicely played by Zeus.
Solo kill by the support. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, not very often as well, especially when Alistar does have his ultimate available. Nice by Zeus. Had some botched grabs early on, but this
Look
is
at the flow-on effect here.
Yeah, Longzhu collapsing onto Soul. They try to get that wave pushed to the tower as fast as possible.
Soul should really be calling his jungle right now. It's a very obvious turret dive with Sivir pushing out.
Crush is on the run down, but can they get there in time? He gets caught by the cocoon, gets locked up, he goes down. Nicely juggled by Longzhu, and that's going to be a kill for Captain Jack. And 2 on the board now for Longzhu, and just like that, they equalize the goal pretty evenly.
It's just 2 big mistakes in bot. We're going to see some fighting in top. Probably not kills, although Hippo.
Flame doing a lot of damage. Hippo throws down the barrel, will slow Flame just enough to get away. So he does stay alive for now, but good counter engaged by Flame, who's been getting pretty heavily harassed out by Hippo in that top side.
So Guga just dies for free, basically. When he's caught in a ward backing on low health, he just needs to be safe. Just walk back. There was no reason for him to back once again in fairly open terrain, gets punished. And then the moment you see Sivir autoing and the support leaving lane, turret dive, turret dive, turret dive. There's no reason Crush should just be clearing his Raptors out unless there's a communication breakdown, because he should have been there for the counter gank. Okay, it still might have been a kill, but the fact that he didn't path over till the kill was acquired by Longzhu tells me there was a communication breakdown or just a lack of communication from Kongdu.
Yeah, Crush with the Lamb's Respite for that dive could have turned that completely on its head in favor of Kongdu Monster.
And it is a super late Devourer as well. I'm really not liking this. Crush had such a wonderful start to this game, but this seems like a bridge too far to be picking up a 14-minute Devourer when it's the cheapest of all jungle enchants.
Yeah, really delaying himself. Flame here, really getting aggressive onto Hippo. The rest of the team is here to collapse. Flash forward. Might not even need the rest of the team. Crash just flash, however, does finish him off with a Q. Captain Jack, meanwhile, on the bot side, getting engaged on. Culling does come across, has to burn the flash and the heal. So good stuff by Kong to at least get those summoners away from the AD carry of Longzhu. But Hippo is getting aggressed on, and he goes down on the top side. Now we're almost dead even in gold. 1 kill up in favor of Longzhu.
So with no support in bot lane, they got a chunk but not a turret and not a kill crucially onto Captain Jack. So once again, it's that story of Kongdu getting almost trades and Longzhu getting complete trades.
Yep.
What really cost Kongdu last game.
Yeah, and this is going to be really good for Captain Jack. He already has a substantial CS lead, almost 30 CS up over Soul at 15 minutes into this game, and now with a kill in his pocket as well. His next back is going to be a pretty strong one.
And it's things like that. It's mechanical problems that you see, like for last game when Twisted Fate was leaving lane left, right, and center, and the majority of the laning phase was still ahead in CS over Edge, who was playing Victor, and then this game where Zeus is getting roams away and the gold lead isn't even closing between Captain Jack and Soul. That's where I come back to the fact that, again, strategically, often sound, impressive even for a team right at the bottom of the ladder, but some of the cavalry just isn't up to their opponents. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised. Longzhu, despite their struggles, despite the fact that they're despite the fact that they've been 7th at the start of this game, their gold difference at 15 consistently this season has actually been top 2, top 3, because they're all strong mechanical players, often the crown jewels of their old team.
Yeah, they are a team that has so much potential. It's just waiting to be unleashed. We've seen it come out a few times, but as of late, suffering a little bit more. You see though, Crash going for this Rift Herald. Doesn't look like Kongdu Monster is set up at all for any kind of dragon trade, so this should just be free Rift Herald gain by Longzhu with little objective follow-up by Kongdu.
Of course, not so much a trade when both teams have got their duo lanes on the same side of the map, so no free objectives. It's just been earned objectives for Longzhu.
Crash being engaged on by Crush. Crush takes a bit of damage. Hippo comes down around to try to help out. Could throw down the cannon barrage, but they don't want that fight. It's a little too even, not one-sided enough for them to be able to take that.
How does Kongdu win this game? This thing I'm not clear on.
They probably don't.
That's fair, but you always want to think, how does this comp, or what does it look like
How
where
can
Kongdu
you
win?
win? Ooh, that's going to be threading the needle there by Zeus on the Soul. Takes a lot of damage. Cannon barrage does come down. They'll be able to split off on the sides. Zeus did use the depth charge to knock up Soul, so good disengage. That should send the bot lane back to base pretty soon. We can see Crash, though, coming up to this top side. Going to try to get Hippo, who can, of course, cleanse off this cocoon if it comes down to it. It doesn't even land, but might not even matter. Crash has the damage and just finishes him off. Hippo going down. Crash collapsing here. Does he have the damage to try to contest Crash? Does not look like it, especially with Flame backing up his jungler. So nice pick there. Coming in from Crash, who's looking a little bit more like himself. Haven't seen that hyper-aggressive play like we saw in the last game. Getting back into the swing of things now.
If anything, Crush has been the hyper-aggressive jungler. This guy, level 2, no buff, went and contested Crash's red buff. I don't think Crash has ever been more surprised to see an enemy jungler than at his first complete big buff that he was trying to complete. But since then, Crash's pathing has been more superior than Crush's, who has been slow. He's been the second person to react to the last 3 turret dives or ganks that Crash has put together, and the result is Longzhu building a lead once again in gold. It was Kongdu ahead in gold 10 minutes, but really been wrestled back by Longzhu.
Yeah, maybe Crash was just recovering from some like PTSD or something when he got invaded at red. He thought that it was Peanut for a second and had to calm himself back down.
Crash hasn't seen Peanut this season.
All of a sudden he's just like, oh wait,
It was
it's
Chaser.
just Crush, I can actually win this. Oh yeah, it was Chaser.
It was Chaser that time, but I'm sure there's shared PTSD for your squad. You can see a squad mate getting smashed by perhaps the best jungler in the world, and you're like, man, is this going to happen to me next time? You wouldn't think so against Crush, but Crush has been better than usual.
Look at this though,
Here we go
Longzhu
again.
just revisiting this top side. Hippo does not yet have the cannon barrage available to him. They pin him into the wall. The grab comes through from Zeus just for good measure, and he goes down. It's going to be Crash finding that kill. That should be the tower going down on the top side, but Kongdu Monster not resting on their laurels. Going to go ahead and try to take this first dragon of the game, which they should be able to get with relative ease.
Resting on their laurels, not something we usually say about Kongdu Monster. Their laurels have been disarray all season.
It's very true. Maybe now Captain Jack getting engaged on Headbutt Pulverize comes through. He gets exhausted, has to pop on the hunt. The heal comes through. Is it enough to keep him alive? It's not going to be enough. Crush finds the kill. So good pick there by Kongdu, but they are losing a tier 2 at the same time. Looks like Kongdu's going to try to replicate this in the bot side of the map. They might be able to get enough damage in with Lucian there.
The triple AD comp should be able to take down turrets, but the issue is that Longzhu are going even or better in this turret taking, and the turret taking team being second or slightly behind in the early game bodes poorly for if any of these initiation CCs, we saw 3 of them in the top lane between Poppy, Elise, and Nautilus hit. Someone's going to die, and from there, Longzhu should be able to take a lot of objectives in the mid game.
Yeah, they're going straight for that mid tower. Cannon barrage does come out, however. That combined with the rockets from Edge will clear out the wave. Turret takes a lot of damage, however, so it should be one revisit from Longzhu to be able to finish that one off. See how long Kongdu can possibly hold on to it. But so far, 2-2 in towers. Gold lead still sitting very slightly ahead by Longzhu. This is significantly closer than that first game that we saw.
And this is a comp that's not far from the comps that Kongdu got wins over CJ Entus with in consecutive series, and I picked up 1 game win in both those series with Varus comps almost exclusively. It's definitely a turret taking comp, but it's not a true poke comp, because again, you've only got line poke from the Corki. They don't have great disengage, it's just the Alistair headbutt and I guess the Gangplank ult. It's the Gangplank that kind of muddies the water in terms of this comp, because, okay, Crush was able to get aggressive, get in the face of Crash, it opened up some time for Gangplank to farm, but eventually the repeated turret dives have held down the Gangplank. And when these 3 members set up around enemy turret, if we do see a 4-1, for example, the disengage isn't really there. The front line is only an Alistair. Gangplank doesn't really teleport and have any relevant CC, again, outside the global, so I just don't know how Kongdu win the game by pushing turrets, which is exactly what the comp is put together to do, because the answering there from all the options Longzhu have is immense.
Yeah, calling comes out. There's going to be the teleport coming in here from Hippo as well, but Flame coming around the backside. Soul getting grabbed up. He will go down. Captain Jack finds that kill. Flash away by Hippo, trying to keep himself alive, but the multi Poppy ultimate knocks up 2 members, and now Frozen is arriving, not able to save Zeus in time. Kongdu Monster maybe going to try to turn this one back around. Crash still in that brush, now getting engaged on. Crush sitting in the forefront, has to pop the Lance Respite to try to keep himself alive, but now Cougar goes down. An immense amount of the CC for Kongdu is gone, and just like that, they clean up Crush. They pinch her on the backside. They should be able to finish this off and get the ace. Just need that wave to crash into the tower so they can go for the dive. Oh, takes a bit of damage, trying to throw out those barrels, trying to get some damage. Edge gets caught by the Cocoon. He jumps forward with the Valkyrie. Can he find Captain Jack? It's not going to happen. And just like that, the unofficial ace comes through, and Longzhu wiped the floor with Kongdu.
So when you have a utility carry like Lulu against 4 squishies and an Alistar's only situationally tanky, things like this will continue to happen. You have to be so on point, clearing wards, moving as a 4-man group, because the CC shows up. Everyone in Kongdu runs in different ways. Gangplank shows up. Again, it's teleport Gangplank. That's not going to do much. And it's just free kills for Longzhu.
Yeah, good fight by Longzhu going on multiple fronts there. There's Crush on the one side, everybody else on the other. And in the end, they all fall down. So Longzhu finally establishing a pretty solid lead in this game, where before it was so close. Now 4,000 gold up, just 22.5 minutes in. No towers coming off of that unofficial ace. Dragon not yet spawned either, so they can't get too much objectively, but the gold lead is going to be very substantial for them.
Kongdu really needs to be snowballing, but now we're at the stage of the game where it's 2 armor item into Giant's Belt Poppy. The moment that you show up for a siege, which is exactly what the comp from Kongdu is built to do, Nautilus runs in from the front, ults somebody with the Sivir ult, Poppy shows up from a flank ward, and all these squishies have to run in disarray. There's not going to be any organization. So many different answers for Longzhu. At least can get a pick with a Flash Cocoon. Kongdu seem to have missed their window, and even though they have no dragons, it just feels like Sivir is the ultimate answer. Sivir being back in the meta, suddenly poke comps that much less reliable because Sivir makes everyone an initiate.
Yep. She can also negate the decent amount of that poke if you're trying to target her out with that spell shield. You can see though that tier 1 in the bot side did go down. Frozen splitting off, takes that one for himself. Looks like we're going to be seeing a bit of a 1-3-1. 7 members come around the side, they find Crush. Lamb's Spike comes down immediately, getting it out of this one alive. Zeus taking up the front side. It's going to be the depth charge comes through, pops up Cougar. They're not able to finish off the Kindred, but he's no longer there. This could be Longzhu going straight for this tower in the mid lane. See that grab not going to come through. Nice Valkyrie away by Edge, just keep himself alive. Captain Jack trying to inch forward and get some hits in on this tower. The wave clear is coming through from the side of Kongdu Monster. Just going to brute force this down, tank it up here with Crash and Zeus. And now all of the outer turrets have gone down. Just these tier 2s in the mid and bot lane standing for Kongdu, just losing objectives left and right after that last fight.
Suddenly it feels like a revisit from last game where the map pressure seems to be almost wholly on the side of Longzhu. They're pushing up their ping wards even to the Raptor pit.
Yeah.
Double ping wards on the bot side. Suddenly can't enter there if you're Kongdu.
Frozen still pushing up onto this tower. Wave's not with them, so they're not going to be able to go for a push here.
Flame doesn't have teleport and is me in the lane and bot, so they do not have the ability to respond.
They'll have the teleport up in about 30 some odd seconds, so they could just maintain pressure in this mid and bot lane and then go for a big TP play. Of course, Captain Jack can rejoin the team with On the Hunt in just a few seconds. Crash and Zeus take a little bit of damage from those barrels as they start doing pretty significant damage, especially to the wave as they are clearing it out. So it looks like Longzhu just going to go ahead and back off and try to take their first dragon of the game. Second one in total has spawned here. They should be able to secure this for themselves. Crush not in any position whatsoever to contest this.
You look at Kongdu, even though they have the teleport advantage, they don't really have a way to contest at Dragon. Initiation for them is maybe a Gangplank ult, maybe an Alistar combo, but then you have no disengage for your squishy backline. So in the open under an enemy turret, that's the only place Kongdu can confidently fight, and not granted to them so far by Longzhu.
Yeah. Longzhu doing well to get some dominance in this match and hold on to it. Now stretching to 6.1 thousand for their gold lead. Crush trying to sweep out that Baron pit. Not too many wards have been placed over there by Longzhu quite just yet. They haven't turned their attention to the Baron. Getting that first dragon, now that they have that, they may very well go for a larger objective. Yet to be seen though, we can see Captain Jack splitting up that top side of the map. He'll be able to push that wave out very quickly with that static shiv.
Kongdu keeping pink wards and getting a face check is their only real way into winning this game. They have lots of damage, 4 huge carries, even a Devourer jungler who doesn't have, say, the Devourer at 26 minutes, so it's definitely been significantly delayed, as we expected when he picked up the Devourer at just before 14 minutes.
Yep.
All Kongdu have is damage. They don't have initiation, they don't have tankiness, they need a lucky face check, and that means that Longzhu have to make a mistake rather than being a true win condition for Kongdu at this point in the game.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to get a pick onto Crash here. He takes a lot of damage. Repel comes down, has to flash over the wall. Is that going to be enough to get him to safety, though? Edge follows with the Valkyrie. Here comes Captain Jack, however. And just like that, the jungler for Longzhu stays alive and will live to fight another day. Taking him down quite low, though. Gonna have to sustain back up with those Spiralings or return to the base.
But Guga used both summoners and the Gangplank holders down, so literally Kongdu have no CC or initiation. So the fact that Sivir popped ult, caught Crash with the end of that movement speed and got Crash away, suddenly the reprieve is there and then some. Now Longzhu can go back to having basically exclusive control of the map.
Yep. Stuff by them. We can see just not many wards being pushed too far forward by Kongdu.
So needs to be careful here.
Yeah, Captain Jack takes a bit of damage, but very easily could have turned that one right around onto Soul.
Will we see Sated Devourer before 30 minutes? I don't understand.
Hard to tell. I don't know how many stacks Crush is at right now.
Look, very clearly, someone was doing great work with Devourer, Kindred, and Solo Q getting Hunter's Potion first. If you're getting it early, I understand. But this is literally the cheapest of the jungle enchants. Went for the movement speed instead to get there and fight with the enemy jungler to open up space for Gangplank. Finish that train of thought. You need immediate stats. You buy Warrior so you can keep fighting. Instead, did a lot of pressure early, then bought Devourer and had to farm. Pressure drops, multiple turret dives come into Hippo. They lose complete control of the game. Really questionable choice to go for the Devourer from Crush.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really hurting Kongdu Monster right now. We can see Longzhu with pretty much complete control for almost both jungles from on Kongdu Monster's side of the map, as well as Baron. Dragon's not going to be coming up for a couple more minutes, so not something that they have to worry about. With multiple recalls coming out here, Longzhu could just go ahead and maybe start up this Baron, try to bait it. See that Hippo and Flame both do have teleports available, so if fight breaks out, they could rejoin their teammates.
You have all the options.
Oh, on the hunt gets popped, and Soul's going to be the target as that big grab goes through. Soul gets popped up in the air, gets locked down by Zeus, who takes a lot of damage from the Corki. Flame's Respite comes down, however, so it's not going to be up if this fight continues. It's going to be Crush finishing off Zeus. Maybe Kongdu Monster feeling confident enough to go for an objective of their own. Flame still splitting on that bot side, and looks like Kongdu just going to have to back off, unable to make any kind of play for the Baron or any tower that is still standing for Longzhu here.
It's a really big over-pursue from Longzhu. Flame didn't teleport because he didn't have a teleport flank ward to go for. Their initiation was Whimsy Nautilus, basically using everything, missing the dredge line, and still going for the flash play, despite the fact they had no way for Poppy to get into the fight. He dies on the front line. Kongdu were waiting for mistakes. We said that's all they can do. They found 2 so far, and wrestled a little bit of space back into a game that should honestly have been just completely strangled away from if Longzhu was playing completely on top of things.
We can see Flame is still trying to keep that strangulation going as he pushes into this tier 2 in the bot side. Should be able to get this in just a few more waves, if not this one. Yeah, Hippo just not able to clear out the wave, now not having those 5 barrels available to him. So that's going to be the tier 2 going down. Just the mid one standing for towers outside of the base of Kongdu. Gold stretching that much further for Longzhu. Still very much in the driver's seat of this game, 7.2 thousand ahead.
What you do is get Poppy on the Baron to tank it, have someone else fighting with him, and then wait for the face check.
Cougar gets grabbed, already pops the ultimate. This is going to be the TP coming in from Flame as well as he comes down from the side. Can he get a pitch into the wall? No, but he gets a double pop-up with that ultimate. Cougar doing what he can, but it's so little as he gets taken in by Captain Jack. And just like that, Soul's dead, stunned into the wall onto Crush. No Lamb's Respite for him. He goes down. Just Hippo and Edge standing, and that should be a nearly free Baron for Longzhu off the backside of that fight.
It's no coincidence that when Flame gets into a fight, everyone has to run away. They're 4 squishies, and he can just run in, tank all 3, took focus fire from 380 carries. It didn't even take any damage away. And the difference between Longzhu having a flank ward for Flame to come in on and trying to fight 4v4, 4v5 is night and day, and Flame's not even done yet.
Yep, still going in on the Hippo, slowing him up. Dashes into Edge, denies the Valkyrie. Rosa, though, has to flash away as he takes an immense amount of poke, but it looks like Flame is just going to be able to bruise her, this Edge into the ground. Still going on to Hippo as he takes a lot of damage.
Not done.
Yeah, that Glitter Lance was enough to instill some confidence. Goes forward, but he sees Cougar has returned. So he says, oh, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Backs off. But that, of course, was the Baron here for Longzhu, and it looks like they're going to take this final Tier 2 tower and maybe more.
Sustain wild growth, I guess, coming from Lulu, just popping it on the Poppy for a bit of healing. That lets you know how far ahead Longzhu are. 12,000 gold now. Poppy is more than anyone can handle. The difference in the last fight where Zeus over-pursued and died on this one, we see the channel come down, and Flame runs in, 3 members. It's a nice double knockup, but he's both tanky and doing enough damage in the front line with consistent CC from the Flash Heroic Charge. Nothing that Kongdu Monster can do. Flame literally alone runs these fights.
Yeah. I think it's pretty safe to say that this series is just about over.
Say the Devourer complete.
Yeah. It has. I'm not sure exactly when he got it, so we don't know if he got it before the 30-minute mark or afterward, but I didn't notice until about 31 after that fight that he does have Sated Devourer. So maybe that's the turnaround.
He's got that going for him.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Doesn't matter. Sated my Devourer.
You got your scaling item at 32 minutes. Congratulations. Now win the game. And if you can't do that, then build Warrior next time.
Shoot pushing up. Both waves.
Coon not landing onto Crush. See though, Captain Jack splitting in that mid side. Wave not with him though, so they're gonna have to peel over to this top side where the Wave is getting ready to crash. Building in the bottom lane as well, so as long as they stick around, they will have 3 waves pushing into the face of Kongfu Monster. Turret already down, half HP. Cougar goes in for the engage, gets popped down, but below half HP. Flame knocking away the Kindred for now, and just trying to lay out as much damage as humanly possible. But Longzhu still pretty healthy here. You can see Captain Jack with the arrival of that wave in the mid lane, just going straight for this tower.
Yeah, really nice play from Captain Jack. Has a second dragon buff as well, along with the Baron. So carves through with the Sivir. No tank line there. Sivir actually wants to be in a 1-4 situation under turrets, because we've mentioned it a couple of times. Excellent turret damage, but not the range to do it from safety. So getting away from all the poke from Kongdu means free in mid-turret.
Yeah, and looking like that top tower as well. Wave is getting cleared out here, though. Of course, Captain Jack can finish off with a few hits. Cougar gets engaged on, has to use that double pulverize to try to get out alive. Crush getting grabbed on, but Soul actually finishes off Zeus, so that's a very tanky member of Longzhu going down. Cougar falls as well so far. It's just the supports going down. Hippo gets engaged on Lambert, so Respite is there to keep him alive, but Crush has fallen on the sidelines. Hippo goes down. Soul looking like he might fall as well, has to dash away to safety. All summoners being used by the side of Kongdu Monster, and with his push with the Baron empowered minions, Longzhu are looking to end the game.
It looks like it. One turret down, Flame still, even with the low health bar, is zoning away Edge and Soul.
Yeah, and Captain Jack not going down. Edge will fall here, trying to get that kill onto Soul. Don't think he's going to be able to do it before the Nexus goes down. Flame just popping him up in the air. Can they actually finish it? No, the dash away will keep him alive, but all the same, the Nexus goes down, and Longzhu 2-0 over top of Kongdu Monster.
Yeah, a really nice controlled series from Longzhu. Again, much easier opposition than Rocks Tigers. They went from the team that was undefeated at the top to one of the teams with only one single match win at the bottom of the table, but they do the full Longzhu. They bring in 5 new players, including the debut of Zeus, and they look pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see evolving. If we do see these 2 discrete 5-man lineups from Longzhu, it makes it so much harder to scout. You don't know which team you're facing. And so you basically have to prepare for 2 different teams and then get surprised by the lineup you see. And if they can both have discrete identities, differing champion pools, how do you prepare for 10 top-class players? I shudder to think.
Yeah, makes it really difficult for these teams moving forward. Of course, you know, Longzhu, you don't want to get overconfident. They tried out, a few of their new players with Zeus having his first premier game. But you don't want to get too confident because this was a showing against Kongdu. Had this been a win over a team like Samsung or Jin Air, or SKT again for Longzhu, that'd be significantly bolstering to the confidence of these players. But you don't want to get overconfident. You don't want to get cocky with this roster. You still need to experiment a little bit and see how they're really going to perform against the upper echelons of teams.
With Longzhu, we never stop saying the word roster because they have those 10 players. Are they going to keep it this lineup and the lineup that we saw against the Rock Tigers? Are they going to keep mixing? These are questions we don't know the answer to. If we do see 2 separate squads, picking up a win is a big thing for them.
Yeah, I think mixing is pretty significant for their success, but we'll see how it goes when we come back. It's KT versus Jin Air.
Coming up next, Jin Air Green Wings, KT Rolster, Lotte Kokalkon League of Legends Champions Korea Spring 2016, Round 2.